Welcome to Rocket Resources, where we're fueling your exhibition success with expert knowledge and advice from our wonderful Rocketeers. In this episode, I'm joined by Joe and Tiffany from our design team, and we're going to be going through design trends and what to really look out for in your next exhibition stand design. Hope you enjoy. We're here for another Rocket Resources, and this time I'm joined by two of our fantastic designers, Tiffany and Joe, to talk about design trends and creativity in general to help you get the most out of your next exhibition stand. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you.
I know you're really, really pleased to be here.
Yes, obviously.
Absolutely. Good. So, obviously, you guys as designers, creativity is it's the massive part of your job, right? Mm-hmm. You've got boundaries that you need to work within in terms of stand space and budgetary constraints and stuff like that. But in terms of creativity, you, the guys who get to come up with, okay, I'm taking this written brief or someone's, and a bit of branding, I suppose, to then create something in a 3D environment. So what I really want to get under the skin of is, like, how does that work for you? What process do you go through? What does good look like? So who wants to start? So I'll start with you, Tiffany.
Okay.
So when you've got a brief from someone and you know what the brand is, you've been sent maybe some basic branding, colours, logos and stuff like that, and you know exactly what they're trying to achieve on the stand because they've given us a brief with some objectives. What's your first step then? How do you take that then into start thinking about 3D space?
I think my first step is sort of getting the size of the stand laid out and then sort of finding out the elements that they want, like meeting area, sort of furniture, welcome desk, then sort of just like spatially arranging that just so I know, first of all, that's sort of a way that the stand could flow. Yeah. And then I'll probably move on to like mood boards and stuff like that, trying to get inspiration of what their brand could look like on that stand and how that would work with the layout of everything.
Yeah. So when you're doing a mood board, what are you looking for in that? What sort of things are you thinking about?
So probably start off with like their brand colours and everything, and then sort of looking at different materials and textures that we can use with those colours just to add a bit of depth to the stand. And then maybe just sort of the furniture that we have to offer and how that could fit into their brand colours, or if we wanted to step away from their brand colours with that and then add some other aspects like woods, different things like that. So yeah.
What about what sort of materials do you are common, and where do you see that going over the next 5 years?
I think at the moment, like, sustainability is a massive thing. Yeah. So like the natural colours, sort of like your woods and everything like that, and then adding like elements like LEDs. So if you've got that overall natural look, but then you can add and highlight different areas with your lighting and other aspects like that.
What about you, Joe? What do you go through a similar process, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you've got a back wall, that's definitely a good place to start, and then build out of that. Obviously, if you've got an island stand, it's a bit different.
An island stand. So for anyone that doesn't understand what that means, watching this, what's the difference?
It's fully open, no back wall, no sides.
So you've got aisles all the way around you.
Yeah, that's right. So you can walk on it at any angle. Yeah,
so that must create a challenge, right, from a design perspective?
I think so, yeah. I find it a bit more difficult to design island stands.
Yeah. And what would you use as a reference point for the front of the stand if you've got access all the way around, so the front could be anywhere, right? Yeah. How do you decide what is the front, or do you design it in a way that doesn't have a front or a back or sides?
I think it's better to not have a front. Okay. Otherwise you end up with like 4 reception areas and everything's times by 4, so I think it's better to not be as symmetrical in an island stand. Yeah. Just so it looks a bit cool and different from all sides.
Yeah. Cool and different.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about materials, then you mentioned about like natural materials and sustainability, and we'll probably come on to that in a bit. But what are the things that you see as maybe things that we're moving away from and moving towards? Is there any sort of trends that you're seeing around materials at the moment?
I think we still see a lot of like concrete and granite and marble I think slats still going. That still can look nice.
Yeah.
I know some people.
It does look nice,
Yeah.
doesn't it? But I think it's definitely
I think
it's
you
been
can
done
do
now.
it in like different ways though, so you don't have to
Yeah.
just have your slats. You can sort of
Yeah.
figure out different shapes and within that and use it in different
Yeah.
areas. Maybe like we did that parametric wall for Melia, which is
Yeah.
still sort of slats, but
Yeah.
it's something a bit special.
Yeah,
about
but
that.
it's
With the
really
twist,
different though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although not that different because I did see it at a different hotel.
Oh, they
recently.
copied us. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so. Must have been. Yeah, so woods, so natural materials, and like we like to use natural materials, and I think a lot of people like to use natural materials as opposed to synthetic stuff. And just from a planetary point of view or environmental point of view, it's more kind, easy to repurpose. But let's go back to the slats because I know that. Yeah, slats is like the podcast walling and stuff like that is really slat heavy. There's just slats everywhere. Why do you think that's been around for so long?
I think it sort of creates that like wall aspect, but you don't necessarily, you're not shutting off the whole thing, so you still have like an insight of what's going on behind those slats. And it's like a different feature. It's adding texture to your stand. I guess it just depends how you use it. You don't just have to use it however.
So you're talking about slats that you use to kind of to zone off a space, but you can still kind of see through it, so it creates a bit of intrigue and stuff. I like that on an exhibition stand. I'm not a massive fan of closed off meeting rooms. I know sometimes they're essential when you're dealing with private stuff, but I think if you're not doing things that are confidential or you've not got a massive space, I think it's important that you can create just some sort of line of sight. You might not see exactly what's going on, but you can just see something's going on, and that creates intrigue. And anything that creates intrigue is good, isn't it? So there you go. There's a top tip: create intrigue on your stand. So looking forward, then, what are the things that you're starting to see come alive in terms of materials or design trends? What are you seeing from when you're looking at LinkedIn or looking on Pinterest or whatever, or Instagram, seeing loads of exhibition stuff? What are the types of things that you're starting to see?
Seeing quite a lot of like arches and
Arches.
curves.
Okay.
With LED and
Yeah, LED is
lights.
quite big, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like using LED to create accents and stuff. We love a bit of LED. Don't we?
Yeah.
Like a front lit logo, just to really show off.
Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Difficult to get a good photo of a front lit logo.
Yeah.
That's
We struggle with that after. So think about that when you're putting that on a stand. That sometimes you can get a really nice picture of the stand, but if the exposure's slightly high because in a dark exhibition hall, it just really makes the logo super bright and overexposed, isn't it? But when you're seeing it in the flesh, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Which I guess is what an exhibition is all about. What about what other uses are people doing with? So you talk about curves. So where would you use curves? Curves and arches, I think you mentioned. What
Just
type of
like on like
situation?
upright returns and soffits and entrances, all sorts. Yeah.
Yeah. What about
Counters.
making things curved? Do you do like that?
Yeah, I think it definitely looks good. A lot more difficult to build, but it does give a good effect.
Yeah, it creates a point of interest, isn't it? Anything I
Yeah.
think that's like, oh, that's nice, or tactile and makes you want to touch it
Yeah.
is good.
I also think with like the curves, like it helps with the flow of the space, so it's not like just like this rectangular counter that you've got that's like blocking the way. You sort of like can pass by it a bit easier. So
Yeah.
And I also saw some like curved alley. So obviously
What's
people.
alley? Come on, we have to assume no one knows what we're talking about. Yeah.
Aluminium trim.
Yeah. So that's to go on the floor.
Yeah, that goes on the edge of the raised platform.
Yeah. Just sort of protects that bit where the carpet joins the floor. Yeah.
So a lot of people worry about the trip hazard of a raised floor. So that's why we used our ramp flooring in certain areas, and then obviously on site I've seen some other people doing like the curved edges. So that
cool.
gets rid of the trip aspect, I guess.
Yeah. As long as you see it.
Yeah.
Not really a trend as well, but a lot of people are putting ramps in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ramps is
accessibility.
Yeah, for accessibility is a we do that for every project now. Right?
Yeah.
So regardless, it doesn't even become it's just a standard thing, and that should be for everyone really. So think about accessibility. I guess when you're designing a space, not all exhibition stands are big enough to allow for really good access and egress for wheelchairs, are they? Because a lot of stands would be small, 3x2, 3x3, where you physically would struggle to get you struggle to get people on there, let alone
Yeah.
things. So you have to really think about that. So accessibility is a good point, and isn't just about physical access, is it? It's also about other things. So things like if you're running a video, making sure it's got captions on and sound. And there's what other things do we have to think about when you're thinking about accessibility for any sort of special needs for people?
Easily readable text on backgrounds. Thinking about like complementary colours and I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult, I guess, because you're
Yeah.
trying to second guess
Yeah.
what could potentially become an issue for someone which you don't want,
Yeah.
but without compromising on the overall design of the stand. So it's
Yeah.
a challenge, isn't it, I guess?
Plus, people might supply their own graphics as well, and then it's not really up to us.
Yeah. Okay. So do you give advice on that then when it comes to creatively what you do with design? Because like you say, we're designing a 3D space and we're producing the graphics for it, but we won't always do the graphic design for those elements. We can give it to the client; they can do their own design if that's what they want to do, or we can do it. How much guidance would you think is needed for a graphic designer, or do you feel that's incumbent on the designers themselves to think about that?
Yeah, I'd say it depends per design and who's working on it. I think I'm a big believer of less is more, so I'll normally pass that on.
That's
as
probably going
advice.
to be the most common phrase on all of these
Yeah.
resources
Less is
about
more.
less is more. Yeah, it's
Don't
so true
put
though, isn't it?
paragraphs on there, no one's going to read it.
Yeah.
Just big titles, big logo, nice bold background.
Just key information.
Yeah.
I did think about this earlier, actually, for our own stand, our
Yeah.
Rocket stand we're doing at B2B Marketing Expo. And I know we've got some QR codes and stuff for scanning on some of the things that we're doing for these Rocket resources and for the scorecard that we do. And I was thinking earlier, and I was like, are we listening to ourselves here? Have we got too much?
Yeah, is anyone going to actually do it?
Do we have too much on ours, do you think? Because I realise that I've kind of given you that instruction, say, we need to get that on there, Joe, we need to do that.
I think, in my opinion, it's too much for me. But
Is it?
I think we have zoned it well.
Yeah.
It's not everywhere. It's not like everywhere you look there's
No.
text and information. It's on that pillar on both sides.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
But I guess that represents the challenge, doesn't it? And we know that people have a lot to say and a lot to show, and they want to get a lot of stuff done. And for us, one of our key objectives for doing that show is to get people to sign up to the Rocket resources and to do the scorecard. So those are the key metrics that we're going to track.
Yeah.
So we need the mechanism for people to access that. But it did make me think. And I was walking the dog this morning, and I thought, have we overdone it? And have I done that classic client thing and said, no, we need all that stuff on there? We're here to advise people, right?
Yeah.
From a creative side, you're here to advise me. I'm not a designer.
Yeah.
I think we've also got to think about, like, obviously we're looking at the whole stand as a whole, like all that information is everywhere. But what if there was a person just walking down that alley, seeing that QR code and thought, oh yeah, I'll do that quick, and then they've got somewhere else
That's
to
a different
be.
type of alley we're talking about. We're talking about an aisle now, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
An aisle. So yeah, if someone's walking down an aisle,
Yeah, they go down the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't have the chance to probably walk onto the stand, they can do a quick scan of the QR code. So I guess that's why that is important to have that there. But
Yeah. Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll know because we'll have the data from anyone who scans those QR codes, how that transpired. We'll be able to know how many people scanned it, and we'll be able to have that feedback after. You can tell me it's too much on there. Told you. Although you didn't tell me.
No.
You told me now in front of the camera.
Yeah, live.
Live. Okay, so what are the biggest challenges in keeping an exhibition stand? What were the words we used earlier? Cool and fun and different. Like, what are the biggest challenges that you face with that? Or do you not face any challenges because it's easy for you guys?
Perfect.
yeah,
Get it right every time.
Amazing. I think sometimes it's difficult to make existing client stands different. So like MFS, for example, they are they come back every year for multiple shows a year, and they want a new design, which we are quite easy, like we can work with the client quite well, and they've got ideas and we've got ideas, so that's quite easy to come up with something new and exciting.
Yeah, and that's always a good one, isn't it? It's always really creative.
Yeah.
Whatever they do is different and creates intrigue.
Yeah.
And is fun.
And it's exciting to work on something like that because you know it's going to be either slightly different if they're trying to reuse elements from a previous show, or if they've got a brand new idea. Like, it's exciting to work on something like that.
Yeah.
But then we've also got clients that have the same branding, same product, same layout with multiple shows throughout the year, and it is kind of hard to have those different elements to make each stand out a bit more than the last one, or if it's a smaller show, just to be a bit different. But I think with like minor tweaks and different layouts and stuff like that, you can still create difference along their show like program throughout the year.
Yeah, I think also it's important to recognise about being different is not just about a different stand each time or that being different. It's about a point of difference to other people, isn't it? What makes you stand out?
Yeah.
What is it that sets you apart from your competitor? What is it that makes you, recognisable, memorable, things like that? I think that's really important as well about being different, not just necessarily different every time.
Yeah.
Because we want people to reuse things. If we're making things bespoke stuff, we want people to reuse that, don't we? That's our plan.
Yeah.
So, let's go back to sustainability then, because we spoke about that earlier, and that's a really important one. Sustainability in design, and I always use the phrase like we design it in, like it's designed into what we do, that it can be reused, it should be reused. If it's not being reused, it will be recycled, repurposed, stripped back, made into something else. How easy is that to do on a practical level when you're designing stuff? Does it hold you back, or does it actually help you to
I think
be
it
more
works
creative?
quite a lot of the time. I think mixing like wood with brand colours is just so easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes not everyone likes it. I know like Pharmacy Show, it's a lot more just white and clean, clinical cut. But yeah, I think it's quite easy to work natural woods into most stands.
Yeah. But how high up on that list when you're thinking about things? How high up is that for you guys?
I think it depends on the client. Like, we need to figure out what their like
If
key
they're about
points
sustainability
are.
and stuff like
If
that.
that's big on their list, or
Yeah, I think sometimes, like, do you get it much in? Does it form part of the brief for you often? No, but it's almost implied, isn't it?
It's something we do like pretty much straight away. Look on their Instagram.
Yeah.
See what sort of style and vibe they go for normally with like just their graphic design, and then work from that.
Because I think with sustainability, it's almost now it's expected, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so you might not get challenged about it, but it could still be form part of the decision making when someone's choosing a contractor.
Yeah.
And you might not even know that. But I know that from, we try. We're not perfect, but we're trying to be, try to be excellent. That's the very least we can do, really, isn't it? In terms of design trends and what's happening, how have you seen the evolution of technology and things like virtual reality, augmented reality, or touch screens, interactive tech that is being incorporated into stands? Have you seen that? Is that that's becoming more and more?
Yeah, definitely touch screens. I think a lot of people are using them now.
What would they use them for?
To display their products.
Demonstrate.
Demos.
Stuff, yeah. Especially if you've got like a web-based or software platform, it's easy, isn't it? Big screen, touch it, do that stuff. We're doing that with ours.
Yeah.
For the scorecard. Yes, no. What else? What other things do you see in
big video walls, LED video walls, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, aren't they? They can really create a big impact. But you've got to have the content for it.
Yeah.
Big budget.
Big budget, yeah.
Big budget, yeah.
Yeah, so that's expensive, right?
Yeah.
So do you know, I mean, I know that you guys obviously don't do necessarily pricing specifically, but do you know what sort of percentage of their stand costs people would spend on that?
I know like a 3x2 is like, you're looking at like 10 grand.
Really?
Including electrics.
Wow, yeah. So the electrics is a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it draws a lot of power. So that's just something to bear in mind. So when you want a top tip there to make sure when you want to put these things in, check with your contractor to work out what are the total cost of that, not just the cost of hiring the LED wall, but it's also about powering it. That's a really good one.
Should use our 85-inch TV. That's cheaper.
Yeah, so that we've got 85-inch screens for that particular reason, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because we looked at a thing, I can't remember how wide, it's like 2 by 1.5 or something like that, isn't it? A video wall for that, and it was obviously much more cost effective just to put 85-inch 4K TV in.
500 watt socket.
Yeah, so 500 watt socket.
3 kilowatt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, significantly cheaper to run,
Yeah.
and doesn't really impact on the overall effects. I think video walls are great when they're massive.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a small one, just get a big TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for your time. Any other top tips before we go? In terms from a design trends and creative point of view?
Always add plants.
Always add plants.
always add
Everyone will
plants.
hate me for saying that downstairs, but
Why?
Nice furnishing.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice homely environment.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think anything that brings the outside in
Yeah.
is a massive tip.
Yeah.
For people's well-being, sense of calm, all that kind of stuff. It just creates a nicer environment to be in,
Definitely,
doesn't it?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're in a good environment, you're more relaxed. You're more open.
Yeah.
More open, you're probably going to buy more.
True.
Cool. Okay, thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Cheers, Noel.
Cheers. Thank you, Joe and Tiffany, for your brilliant insights into design trends. Really hope you enjoyed that. The next thing I'm going to ask you to do, as I always will, is to take the scorecard. You'll find a link in the description below to the scorecard. It's basically an online quiz where you can answer a load of questions. It takes a couple of minutes, yes and no answers, and you will then receive a report which gives you, really highlights all the areas where you have strengths and weaknesses in your plans. So please go ahead and take that. It's completely free, as I said, and we'd love to be there to support you if you have any questions after that. Please also feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribers will get exclusive access to the new content as it comes online. And if you would like to share it with anyone else who you think may get some value from this, please do so. And don't forget to leave any comments or questions in the comments below, and we will get back to you. We really want to build this as a community to help people get the most out of their next exhibitions. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon.